Let's do that. And with that little bum note there at the end, welcome back here to my channel. I'm Pete. If you haven't been here before, then welcome. And if you have subscribed recently, thank you so much. I mean, it's just gone crazy. And I think we are onto something good here. And yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for commenting. All the comments, it's great. It's great to see that people are getting into the debate in the comment section. They're into talking the stuff. You know, there's no... I love that it's really just it's people talking about stuff. It's not people being mean to each other. You know, it's really, really good. And I feel like that's what we need in the community. We need a place where we can come to somewhere and we can ask a question, because there's no stupid, it doesn't matter. You ask a question and then somebody else goes, well, I've got the same problem. Don't be scared of asking about things. What do you do here? And what do you do there? And all this different stuff. And I just feel like, that's, you know, it's not like toxic, like some forums could be toxic where people are in there just to, you know, why? What's the point in that? It's just we're here to all of us try to enjoy the music and the community. And, you know, you might have played for 2 weeks, you might have played for 2 days, you might have played for 20 years, you might have played for 40 years, whatever, it doesn't matter. You know, we're all here, and some people have got more time than other people have got time to spend on it. Some people are professional, some people are not professional, some people just, you know, like the Squire, the cheap guitar, some people can buy expensive guitars. You know, we're all here in it together, and I think that we're onto something good here. I wanted to, you know, you saw the title, I wrote it down this morning. I had an idea, and then I sort of wrote down this: change how you practice guitar. And you know, I've got a little camera down here as well, so you can see the guitar when I'm playing. I had this idea that, you know, noodling. To those of you who don't know what noodling is, especially what I did in the beginning there, but that comes from something, right? So, and you know, I fluffed up in the end there, and I left it in because I think that's another thing we need to talk about, is that mistakes are, you know, practice makes improvements. It never makes perfect. And when you make a bum note or you play a wrong note, that'll teach you that, you know, that you've got that. Just don't play that note again, you know, or you can experiment with it. You know, there's no wrong notes. It's called chromatic, apparently. You know, I thought, I would like to put the question out there to you guys, how do you practice the guitar? What is the first? I did a little social post recently about this stuff. What is your go-to? What is your go-to thing? Where do you go first when you pick the guitar up? What do you play? And I was like, for myself, I would kind of go, just some. And I'll play some of these loose chords. Somebody with the open B and E string. There was a little bit of a Dane on there. Let me just tune the guitar up. See, there's other things that people don't sort of think about, We cut that out in the videos. I think let's just leave it in. This guitar, for some reason, was tuned to F, not E. So when I picked it up out of the case today, I was like, that feels a bit tight to play. A lot of people do kind of have their go-to thing. They're kind of their noodles. I've got a flint. For a little bit of extra 70s reverb. Anyway, no, it's not the gear we're talking about. Well, it will be in a minute because I've got a couple of pedals on the floor that I used in the beginning. But it's like, where do you go to with when you first pick the guitar up? And is there a way that perhaps we can use this noodling? I mean, I love sitting noodling. I love using a looper pedal. I love just sitting and not knowing what's coming next and what am I playing, what's happening. It's one of the beautiful things about guitars, I think. It's one of the beautiful things about the instrument that we can just sit down, pick a guitar up, and it could be a different guitar. It could be any different guitar. It could be, Tele Strat, Les Paul, whatever it might be. It could be an acoustic guitar. We neglect the acoustic guitar. I think acoustic guitar also gives you some different aspects on what a guitar can bring to you. Like we talked about last time, do you need a cheap guitar? Do you need an expensive amp? Or is it about the inspiration? When you see the guitar sitting there, you kind of go, oh my God, it's so cool. I want to pick it up and play it, But it's the noodling part of it. So, I'm not sitting here and telling you shouldn't learn all the scales and you shouldn't sit and practice and up and down strokes and all that stuff. I'm saying, is there just a way to maybe not change the way you practice, but change how you add something to your practice. So in that way, you're not stuck in the old ways, And I think one of the, hang on. Right, sorry, I got distracted there, but the postman knocking on the door. What was I saying? Not change the way that you practice the guitar, because there are some things that are really important, like your scales and learning your technique and all this stuff. I'm just saying, for me personally, that was the thing I played in the beginning there. Came from an Instagram video that I sat and watched with Marcus King, which is a great guitar player. If you don't know Marcus King, he's an artist, a Nashville guy. He sings amazingly. He plays amazingly well guitar. Really talented dude. And he was doing something at Carter's Vintage, that's the Danish there. Carter's vintage guitars, and he was just sitting noodling on the Les Paul, and he was playing, he's very much sort of a blues player, so he was doing like, and then he would sort of go up, and then he would add this thing in, and I was going, that's super cool. And he was still staying in E, so he was playing like something like that. I watched it quite sort of quick, obviously doom scroll, all this sort of stuff. And it just really inspired me I took it with me to Anderson's when we did some videos. And actually, if you watch one of the Anderson's videos, we're playing a loop in exactly the same way. And I already had that thing in my mind, and I've been playing it ever since I watched the video with him. And it was just super inspirational to me. And that's what I mean with, do we change how we practice? Do we need to noodle more? Is there something in there? Do you guys do that? Do you sit down and listen to something on Instagram? Because this is what I've found myself doing a lot recently, is that I've been scrolling or really good people, really good players, so many great players out there. You just type in guitar and you just sit and scroll on the hashtag, or whatever. Or just, you know what happens. As soon as you talk about guitar, the phone will pick it up, and then the next thing you know, you're going to get millions of guitar things. But there's so many amazing players out there, and there was another video with Billy Strings ad, which is another amazing guitarist and singer, just artist, acoustic guitar. Him and Marcus King were playing Summertime, but it's like a... Sorry, minor. And the weather missing. They're very blues orientated guys, and people say to me, "Oh, you're blues dad" and all that stuff. But I like to play other things as well. There'll be another video coming out where I'm doing with Oz in the Anderson's videos, and I'm playing his solo guitar, which is a Telecaster, but set up with baritone strings with like gauge 14 on it. And it's just that's what I'm saying. Do we need to get it more? Do we need to try to be inspired more to change the way that we practice the guitar? Does that make sense? So what I did then was that I took that thing of the Mixolydian. So what he's playing basically, this is another thing. I heard Guthrie Trapp talking about this. And he's a Nashville guitar player. And in all of my years of touring around the world and doing big gigs and studio sessions and stuff, it's you can count on one hand when I've had a sheet of paper music put in front of me. And where somebody's asked about scales and modes and all sorts of things. Modes, never. But as I said earlier, I think it's a great idea to learn all of this stuff, but you can't get too fixated. I think you learn it and then you unlearn it, okay? That's how I kind of feel like, personally, that I would learn something and then I'd unlearn it, and then when I needed it, it would be in there, but I didn't only focus on that all the time, because I felt like if I was playing a couple of chords, I'm trying to, the first one is amazing, and then, oh my God, the next one is like I need to get all the scales into the minor, E minor, to the G, and I was trying to, before the chords had been and gone. By the time my brain has gone, oh, that's a scale, that's a scale, that's a scale. It's like reading forward in when you read something, you're trying to read ahead. And I'm just not good at that. And so I just felt like it was easier for me to just play like melodic things. So I would try to come up with melodies like I did there. I'm still kind of, I would visualize the chord and then grab some of the stuff from it, which is really good. Anyway, I'm rambling on, but I think these videos will be a lot of the rambling, because I think it's great for me to get it out there, and I think it's good for you guys. Hopefully it's good for you guys to sort of see it and take it in and then comment. I really like this whole thing of comments. So many good comments, and there's so many comments, 5,000 comments. I don't know how many it was, but it was thousands of comments, and it's great to see that the community is there and they want to talk about this stuff, and they're not feeling like they can't ask a question. Like I said earlier, I think it's really important. Anyway, what I did in the beginning, I've got this TC Electronic Infinite, which is sort of a sustainer pedal in the beginning, and oh yeah, that's where I was. See, in and out. So it's a Mixolydian scale. So basically, it's just an E chord. So So we're just lying on this E chord, but instead of playing this, the major 7, I'm playing the 7, so the flat 7. Right, and in the loop there, I sort of just kept. So you're sort of leaving out. Which in turn is actually an A major scale. So I'm playing A major scale. Right, and these are all the things. This is all the theory and whatever is behind it. It is important, but it's not important, if that makes sense. I think when you get to a certain stage of your playing, I think it can be too focused on the. You can get, I know it from my own experience, to get too focused on the theory and the scale. And as I said before, when the chords are gone and when the song is over, I just gone, Jesus, what was this? I missed so much stuff when I could just have done it simply, right? So anyway, it's a Mixolydian, and I sort of have this infinite sustain, which is just a sustainer pedal. And I just did like, so it's like a 1, 1, 5, 1. And then I'm just going to turn that down a bit, and I just have that little thing in the background. Put a bit of delay. I just let it inspire me, but it was this lick. So I'm playing an A scale. Or the 5th scale in that mode is the Mixolydian. If you continue, put start on the E. So it's this note. And then it's sort of just finding where that note is. And then, as you heard earlier, I play that note, which of course is because I was thinking blue, which works, but this is what we're trying to get away from as well, because when you're noodling, I think we just noodle exactly what we know. But if you wanted to try to get away from it, get inspired by other things that you're not necessarily familiar with. So, like this. And then what I kind of found that was really cool is you can still play. But you don't want to do that because that's just like reverting back to your thing. But what you can do is you can, once you got that scale down, you can jump between the notes and find something. And then you can move down. See, I'm kind of, it's quite funny because I'm reverting back to playing some other things that my brain just goes there. But then I goes, I'm learning from these kind of mistakes I'm doing. But I think it's just, is that a different way of practicing? So can you change that thing? You know, I'm not saying don't play your scales, because it is important that you learn all that. And it's very important that you learn your technique. But what I think it is, and what happens to me, I need to get another office chair. This one keeps falling down. What I think happens to me is that it just becomes boring, and it becomes monotonous, whatever the word is. And I just go, oh my God, I don't want to practice. You know, I don't want to practice my guitar, because I'm going to sit down with the metronome, I'm going to do that. And then it becomes tedious. And me getting inspired from this thing with Marcus King, and he was bluesing it, man. You know, he was doing blues. He was bluesing it away. And then all of a sudden he just did that little... He did that little lick, which is like... It's just an E7, an E Mixolydian on... It's an A scale, but he just went... It was the way that he played it, and I went, oh, my ears just poked up, and everything poked up, and I'm like, this is cool. And I went in, and I think it was like in the morning, and I did my meditation in the mornings, and then I was sort of looking on the news, and as I do my thing, and then I was I'm like, no, just gonna have a look at Instagram, blah blah blah, and then it came up, and I grabbed the guitar immediately in early morning, like 7 o'clock in the morning or whatever it was. 6:30, whatever it was, super early, and I'm like just finding that thing, and that just stuck with me now for the whole week and the weekend. I think it was, I can't remember when it was, and it changes how I practice the guitar, because I'm implementing that lick into my whole practice routine, if that makes sense. And I mean, do any of you guys do that? Is that just me, or is it a good idea? I say you're gonna try it out there. I mean, I think it's a great idea. I mean, I'm a big, I love a looper pedal, and doing the loop is really cool. Having the freeze pedal is super cool as well, because you just get that. There it is. See, I can do that for hours. I can just sit there noodling, and it's just one chord. And I think that one chord gives me that sort of calm, just to try to play melodies and simpler stuff, and not think about what key and what scale and what mode is it, and is it a substituted dominant substitution chord from something? Why is it a second chord? But it's a major chord. What is that? And what am I playing on that? I mean, there's a lot going on, and I admire people like Jens Larsen, which is a Danish guy who does lots of lessons and stuff, and he's a jazz player, and he's amazing, and all the chords and all the things, and it fits in, But for me personally, I play it a different way, and thank God for that. We all play differently, and that's I can't be John Mayer or Jimi Hendrix or Steve Vai or any of these, or Gottfried Govan for that matter. I can't. That's not me, but I can be the best me that I can be, and I think everybody out there can be the best. They can only be the best them. If that makes sense. You take something from there that you can play. You take something from over there that you can play, and then you find something over here that you want to play, and you learn it, but it's not too hard to learn. And then you're on your journey at that point, and then you keep going on that journey, and can we change that? Is that better? to do that instead of sitting down and doing the scales. You know, people use YouTube these days, and it's amazing. And they want to learn a song, they type in Wonderwall, and you got Marty up there, and you got so many people just in guitar, and they just teach you how to play all the chords, you know. And I got my daughters; they want to learn some stuff, and they just go on YouTube and they just learn the songs, because I go, oh, you know, you don't want you to teach me, Daddy, because you're shit. And I'm not a great teacher, you know, but I think I'm sharing my experience, and I'm giving some hints maybe, or some tips that could change the way that we actually look at things like practicing, and look at things like learning. I think inspiration is so important, whether it be, you know, your first guitar, you know, but you know, that's why there's so many cool guitars out there now you can get for such a great price, and they look great. You can get them, you know, in graffiti yellow. You can get a lovely TV yellow thing, and they're all the colors, and they're still gonna be 99, 150 quid for guitars that are really, really just not well playing, but also they look cool. And I think that's, you know, looks is not everything. I get that. And some people don't like relics, and some people hate it, you know, love it, and some people hate it. And I think there's just I think the inspiration we need to look for when we practice, I put that at least into our practice thing, because that's what I do, and that's why that's why I want to make this video. And I know there's so many comments about so many great video ideas in there, and I've got it all noted out, but this just popped in my head because I had that epiphany, or whatever you say, this week, and this thing has just stuck with me in my head. And I thought, can we change the way we practice? And I thought it was a good title for a video, and a good question for a conversation. You know, do you sit at home just practice scales, or do you practice chords? Do you do the cowboy chord? I know we all have to do that, and we all have to start from some place, you know, and not everybody picks the guitar up and just plays all this kind of stuff. And I still don't do that. After 40 years of playing guitar, whatever it is, 38 years, I still don't do that. And I'm still sitting, you know, trying to get my legato going. And I'm still not good at it, but I'm trying to. But it becomes this sort of, I'm sitting going, oh, Pete, stop! If you can't play it fast, you can't play it slow. Okay. You know, I sit there and I do that, and I become bored, and then all of a sudden go. You know, then they just swap straight back to the noodling, you know. And that's now with this bit, I've found, instead of going, now I've been going all week, I've been going, I've been having that sort of extra thing in my noodling. So I've changed the way that I practice, instead of just, and my noodling has changed. It's a band called Goose, which they've got a song where he plays a lot of, I can't remember the name, I'm really sorry, but he's a great guitar player as well. And yeah, it's just so inspirational to listen to these different things. And once you've seen something or heard something or posted, you go, oh my God, that's really good. You know, the next time you scroll like 4 or 5 times around, and then somebody else is doing it, this is a sign from whatever it might be up there, or the guitar or whatever it is, to get you to change the way you practice the guitar. I think that's it, isn't it? So change how you practice the guitar. Is that something we should do? Is that something we're doing? And yeah, I think it's a good subject for a good conversation to be had, and hopefully it'll inspire some people. And yeah, like and subscribe, and thank you again, everybody, for this phenomenal response coming back to this. Oh God, I need a new chair, man. What's going on with this? It keeps going down. To this phenomenal response of me putting videos out. It's really great to see. And again, you know, if there's any questions, just message me, or I'll try to get back to it. I would say don't write me via the website. Just do the email, contact email if you have any questions like that, or come on my Instagram and see if hop on my Instagram and maybe send me a message. I do miss a lot, so I do apologize if you have sent a message and I haven't seen it. But thank you. This is cool. I'm liking this. And again, I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to sit and noodle out. And I got the old Purple Telecaster out as well. And I'm rambling now, so I'm going to leave it at that. And thank you very much, everybody. And I'll see you next week. Bye.